Okay, so today we're going to be talking about faces and how to draw faces. And in your Art Foundations book, which I know was something you got last semester, you're going to see this proportions of the face. And there's going to be a video that I'm going to show you guys that goes along with that as well. But basically speaking, proportions of the face consist of, let me just flip my page really quick. It's going to be an oval, kind of like an egg, right? That's if you're looking directly forward. Divide it up to the facial axis, the y-axis, the x-axis. Your eyes are going to be basically here. Nose is going to be, so this is halfway. Your nose is going to be halfway between here and the chin, and then the mouth between these two. Now, these are pretty average. Later, you would, bring things in and figure them out, but that's essentially where you would get these ideas of proportions of a face. But that's not what we're going to concentrate on today. Today we're going to talk features. And I have all these funky little examples here for you. We have the nose, which is my favorite, the lips, and the eye. I'm going to start out with the eye because I think the eye is something that's really kind of a big deal for a lot of art students. And what I like to do is, I don't know if you can see it in here, is the eye is going to have this kind of an almond shape, but not really. Let's really think about this. The eye is not really an almond. The eye is actually an eyeball, right? So it's going to be a circle. So if I was starting with an eye, I would actually kind of draw a circle. And then what happens is lids are going to be put on top of it, okay? And then I draw this line all the way across. Why do I do that? Well, this is going to help me indicate. So if I was to draw a line here, what it's telling me is that the tear duct is going to be below the line, and then the actual curve of the eyeball is going to be right here at this axis. And this is only particular to this eye. So each eye is going to be different. Okay, but I'm basically creating a shape that looks similar to this one. So I have this tear duct, and then I have, now what I'm noticing is the curve here gets a little higher, like right about here. So I'm going to make that curve a little higher, and then it kind of droops down, and every eye is going to be a little bit different. So drawing that just one horizontal line really helps. All right, so I'm going to erase this. And the reason that I drew this circle underneath this, it's going to help with the shading. Because what's happening is the skin is basically laid over an actual sphere, okay? And I'm going to have, let me just zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see. All right, then notice the actual pupil and iris. Look at that. Some people, okay, this would be like an amateur. You would draw an eye like that. And then, oh, this is my favorite. When you would do this, 2 eyelashes, oh boy, that's an absolute no. Okay, so what we're doing next is we're going to look at this pupil. And eye shapes might be a little different. Left eye and right eye might be a little bit different. But what's always going to be the same is the size of the pupil. So actually, that's the iris and the pupils inside. So we've already kind of generated this idea, and this is all about shading, right? So we're going to go into shading in just a little bit. Then you have this crease that goes over the eye, and that's the fold of the skin. And this one kind of goes in a little. And then you have the eyebrows, okay? And the eyebrows, again, are going to be very individualized. This happens to be a female eye, so, the eyebrows might have a little bit more of a sculpted shape because, that's a thing these days. Actually, it's been a thing for a long time. All right, so we're kind of here. All right, so now, you know what? My pencil needs to be just a little bit more sharp because there is a thickness that you're going to see here. And that thickness is the actual flesh of the eye. And you know what? I should show you guys this. This is a little eraser that I have. I love this eraser because it erases tiny little areas. And we'll go into shading now I think we're ready. So we have the basic shape of the eye. Looks pretty accurate. Okay, this kind of goes down here. All right, so let's get going. I'm seeing a little bit of shadow here. This white part of the eye isn't actually all white because it's a sphere. So it's gonna be, you know, I'm gonna erase my indicator line now. I don't need that anymore. So I'm noticing that it's a little dark here. It's a little dark here as well. And I'm gonna use a clean blending stick, just add a little bit to it. The area that's gonna be really dark is gonna be right around here. This is where the nose would actually take shape. So normally when I start drawing, I actually do this part first. This isn't really in here, but trust me, it's in there. And I'm just gonna darken that up a little bit. I'm not using my ebony yet. And then I'm noticing this darkness kind of continue here, right? And most likely there's gonna be a bag under the eye. So I'm not doing the whole face, but I'm just kind of talking you through where things would be. So if I was to just go back here, what I would do is create the shadows in here first. And this really helps indicate where the eyes are going to be. And usually the distance between two eyes is an actual eye itself. And then you have the nose here. But anyway, this is usually how I start faces, is I actually draw this little bridge that gets created. And then I know my eyes are going to be like located right around here. Okay, back to the eyeball. All right. The iris itself is not totally black, not in this particular eye. The area around it is really dark. And then what happens is your eye actually, it's these little muscles that help contract and widen your pupil, depending on how much light is out there. And then the eyes are wet, so there's going to be some reflection. So there's a little bit of a reflection here. So you're starting to see that eye kind of take place. But it's this stuff that becomes really important. It's these shapes around the eye and the shadows around here. All those things are crucial to the eye looking natural, because the eye is, after all, a three-dimensional form that's kind of sitting inside your skull. Really, I mean, there's no other way to put it. And I haven't done my eyelashes yet. That's okay, I'll do those later. I'm noticing there's a bit of a shadow. Oh, hold on, I got rid of this thing here. It's a little darker here. And it's a little shaded right underneath this lower lid. It's usually pretty bright up here. And when I draw eyebrows, I usually use this linear method, so then I can really see the texture of the eyebrow. I don't just outline them and shade them in, because that's not very realistic. And it's a little darker up here too. So I'm including that. And now I think I'm ready for the eyelashes. Now eyelashes here are kind of going down. So there's one way you can do this. You can make them kind of going down, or I actually like to make them kind of look like they're going down and then curving up. So that's what I'm going to do with these. They're not sticking out like that. That's not very realistic. And the ones over here are going to be a little uneven and irregular, so kind of do that as well. And there you have it. There is your eye. Now, obviously, I didn't finish doing shading here. I don't have much of a reference here, but I know, at least I know, I have bags under my eyes. It's not really bags. This is where the eye sockets are. So this is actually part of the eye socket. So this is usually a nice big circle, and that circle is the eye socket, and what sits inside the eye socket? The eyeball. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is your eye. Hope you enjoyed.